everyone, this is Chris. Thank you for joining me. Today's video is about fabric painting. It's really easy, it's very addictive, but there are a few things you absolutely need to know before doing this. And I would really recommend practicing on some old t-shirts, but once you really are used to it, you don't need a lot of time, it's going to become really addictive and fun to do. You can do this on a pair of jeans, you can do this on shoes, on a t-shirt, on almost everything. I would recommend using cotton or natural fibers because it's going to stay better, and you really need to use fabric paint. You can also buy if you want, but I don't think it's the best way to use it, but you do have fabric mediums that you can mix with your acrylic paint. It's rather expensive and it's not easy because the paints I am going to show you are already pre-made. You don't have to add anything else, and especially if you use different colors, you don't have to add this medium inside. So I would really recommend using specific fabric paints. So this is one of the examples I have done. I'm going to show you more. I'm going to do them with you, and I'm going to teach you also the do's and don'ts. It's really important if you don't want to ruin your whole project. Okay, so what you will need are obviously some fabric paint. Don't worry about this brand. You usually find this brand in South America where I used to live. So I have this. Any brand will work. In different colors, of course, and I've got a whole bunch of these. I really have fun. You will need some stapling brushes like these. They're absolutely made for stenciling. You should not use any kind of other brushes for that, and they're really good because you're going to be able to stipple like this and make the paint really run into your fabric, not only on the surface but deeper into the fibers. A sponge is not enough. This works much better. You can also use normal paint brushes if you want to hand paint on it. I'm just going to use stencils today because it's much easier. I would recommend also having a bucket of water with soapy water inside. It's to clean your brushes if you don't have enough. I'm going to use one brush for each color. And also, if you have these kinds of stencils, these are from Martha Stewart, I think, but also any brand will work. Really, you need to wash them as soon as you can because you need to take the bigger part of the paint off, but also they're going to be stained, okay? So don't worry about that as long as you take most of it out. So that's why you need to put that in a bucket of water, soapy water, and then try to brush as much as you can off. And even though they're stained, they're still going to work. But if you don't do that and you leave it to dry, because it dries, it's a paint that dries very quickly. After a while, because you're going to have paint over paint over paint, your design here won't be as defined because it's going to clog the little holes into your stencils. So different kind of stencils. I'm going to use some of these and also some of these. These are just craft paper. And I'll put you a link on where I found them. They're from Faber-Castell. There's a whole bunch in here. There are 10 different designs, and they're really, really cheap. So that's where I got mine. And what else? Yeah, you will need also an old t-shirt or something to clean up your brushes, or something like this, just a normal kitchen paper. And also what you will need, depending on what you're going to paint, is something that is like plasticky, or you could use cardboard, because if you are doing this on a t-shirt, you really need to put this in between your shirt, like inside, to only paint on one side. If you don't do that, your paint is going to go through, but the design on the back won't be as good. So you need to do, if you want to do both sides of your t-shirts, do that one at a time. When it's dry, do the back of your t-shirt, for example. So here I have a plastic mat that I'm going to use, but because I'm going to do this here, I don't have to. I just got to put it on top. Okay, that's it. So one of the first thing you absolutely need to know is never use water or having a damp paintbrush, and I'm going to show you that immediately why. It's because your fabric is, of course, natural. So this is, you know, that's what I use. That's a rag actually, but I'm going to show you this here. And I'm going to show you with another, yeah, with that flower. It's going to be easier. So if you can, I think it's going to help if you, this one is tacky, so if you could put some maybe double-sided tape or a spray of adhesive, that will help you stick really well to your t-shirt. I didn't do that here, but you could. So what I mean by that, look, I'm going to do it in two ways. So for example, if you have just a drop of water, let me do it here. I have water. All right, and I'm going to put a little bit of water just here. I don't have water. All right, just a little bit of water here. And I'm also using a paintbrush. So let's say that I just washed it and I didn't dry it thoroughly. What is going to happen? First, let me just put, it's dry right now. Just me put just a little bit of paint here on the place where I just put the water, and I'm going to go closer. All right, and then I'm going to put a little bit of water onto my paintbrush. Let's say you want to thin down your paint, and I just do this. I really need to make it really dry. If I don't do that, I'm going to show you what is going to happen. And I usually use the lid so I don't take too much. You don't have to use a lot of paint. And then I'm going to stipple my flower. So one other thing while I'm at it is that once you're finished with it, take your stencil immediately off. So now you don't see much, but let the water do its stuff, like it's kind of doing here. And you're going to see that the paint is going to spread because it will go where the water is. It's just like with watercoloring, you know, paint is going to do the same thing. And you're going to have a big blurb of flower. You're not going to even be able to see the flower. And this is the example I have here. I put maybe a bit more water, but it's what's going to happen. So don't use water because it's going to make a big blob. You should use paint directly out of the bottle. And probably you can see that it's starting to do that. Maybe I didn't put enough water, but look at that one. That one is already going, the paint is already spreading a little bit. Here we're kind of losing definition, so please don't use water. If you need to thin it down, you've got special mediums for that. Or just put a tiny bit of water into your bottle and mix it really well. But normally you shouldn't have to do this. And also, what is nice is that your colors should be able to mix all together. So you don't have to buy all the colors that exist. Just buy the main ones and you'll be able to do your own colors. And now I'm going to use different colors here. And I'm going to start, I'm going to start with all these colors. And for the staples, I've got different sizes here. And it's important also to have different sizes. And I will show you in a minute when I'll do some little flowers, something small, why you should have also small stipple brushes. As for now, I'm just going to start with this one. And I'm going to use a big one. Okay. I'm also going to take this color in orange and greens. And I like to work directly here from the bottle because you don't need, again, to put too much. It's not going to make it better, depending maybe sometimes also on the fabric. Let me be around here so you see my design better. And first thing you should know is that if you just bought a t-shirt and it's brand new, before applying your fabric paint, you need to wash it because there is a kind of protector over there when it's brand new. You always need to wash it first because it's going to act like a barrier and your paint may look like it's really staying onto your fabric, but when you're going to wash it, it may go off a little bit or not evenly. Second is that you should also really well read very well what is written onto your paint because some paints dry differently. Like this one, for example, dries after 3 days completely, and if you really want to fix it, you should wash it. So you should wash it kind of not too hot, about 30, 40 degrees, that's Celsius, not more, or even colder, and that's gonna fix it. Sometimes you need to wait a little longer, and for some other brands, you need to iron it to really fix it. If you do need to iron it, never put your iron directly onto your paint. You do it on the back side, or you put something on top, but never put your iron directly onto the paint. So that's really important to follow all these steps and really well read your notice, you know, how you should use it. So I'm going to take a big one because I've got big areas here. And I'm just going to staple. I love this motif. And something important, don't pull your paint. You're not really painting here, you're stapling. You could paint, you can hand paint. You're not going to use this, of course, but here we're using a stencil, and you shouldn't drag your paint, because what may happen if you do that is that your paint is going to come under your stencil and it's going to make a big blob as well. So I'm just stapling. I'm not trying to do anything particular, and I'm going to go now with another color. So I'm going to take another paintbrush here, and I'm going to go with yellow, and I'm going to go over my paint. So you can do this while it's still wet. You don't need to wait for it to dry, especially if you want to mix the colors. If you don't want to have a hard line between two colors, and that's the best way to go. I'm going to take a bit more, and I'm going to do more yellows around here. I'm going to clean it up. I'm not putting it into water now. I'm just taking the green out of my paintbrush here. And try not to move your stencil. That's important. Really keep it in place. I think the best thing to do is have all your supplies next to you so you don't have to move your hand around. All right. Then I'm going to use some, I think I'm going to use some red or orange. I'm going to use orange. And one thing also is important is that this paint is made for fabric. So it's going to stain your clothes. So if you're doing this kind of painting or project, make sure that the clothes you're wearing can hold stains. It's not a big deal. It's craft, you know, clothes you have on, or at least protect them, because otherwise if you try to take it away, depending on the colors and the pigments, you're going to really have a hard time taking it away, even if you do it immediately. And if you wait and you haven't seen that you had a stain, well, it's almost impossible to take that away. I'm going to have a harsh line here, so I'm going to go back with my yellow, and I'm going to mix these two colors. So it's going to have more a blending effect. I'm going to keep on doing this. I might use red now. I'm going to take this one here. And it dries fairly quickly, like maybe in, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, maybe more, depending also on the temperature of your room. This paintbrush is certainly not the best brand I've had. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of, it's too smushy. You need to use something that is stiffer, because I might go underneath with this. I don't know yet. We'll see what it looks like afterwards. All right. I think it's not bad at all. And finally, I'm going to use this blue. Do I have a bigger? Yeah, I have a bigger one here. I'm going to use the blue. Okay, let me put my hands here. Yeah, this one is a bit stiffer. You can hear it. And honestly, it's really fun, quick to do. You can, I think for this summer, I'm gonna do this on some shoes as well with a nice little pattern. And once it's there, it's not gonna go anywhere. On jeans, pockets. Okay, I'm gonna try to go back with my red a little bit and blend these two colors. All right, just a bit. Okay, so now that I think I'm okay, I'm gonna take this away. Right, look at that, how beautiful it is. Really, I love this stencil, I love it. So now that I'm happy with it, I might do a little bit, not more, because my stencil is off. If you really need to do something, put your stencil. The best thing to do if you need to come back is let this dry completely and then put your stencil on top, because now if you want to do that and put back your stencil, what is going to happen is that you're going to smear your paint. So let it dry. Again, maybe 15-20 minutes. It tends to dry, at least on the surface, very quickly. And then you'll come back and do what you need to do. Okay, something important I didn't say before is that, yes, I think I did say that. You need to iron it first, because you see, I've got a big wrinkle, and if I had to put my stencil on top when it's going to unfold, I'm going to have a big white gap in the middle. So, yeah, iron it. I think I told you that just before. Oh my goodness, I forget what I'm saying. So now I am going to use, what am I going to use? I like this little wreath. Yeah, I like this little wreath. Okay, I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to make several of these. So, you see, and it's maybe not my best example, but my flower is coming very close to the edge here. Oops, let me come back here so you can see better. And I'm going to come a little closer. So as you can see, my flowers are quite close from the edge. If I was to use a big paintbrush, what would do is that would go over my stencil and I would have a big mark here of paint. Which is why when you're very close to the edge like this, use a smaller paintbrush. And of course here it's the case also that my little holes are much smaller, so this is why I can switch to that, but specifically more because I don't want to go over my stencil. So again, here I'm going to use, I like the red, I'm going to use some red. And there are flowers and leaves. I'm not really going to bother with that. I'm going to make just different colors, and I'll go back on top if I really need to. And then I'm going to take some yellow and a little bit of green. Or orange. Yeah, I think I'm going to use orange, and I'm going to go a little over here on my red and to make it really nice and blend, and orange. Another, you see, it's easier. I don't have to, if you have enough paintbrushes, you don't have to clean them every time. Again, if you want to clean them, soapy water and a little bit into my yellow and here as well. And in the next video, and I'm going to do this for the rest of my square here, I'll show you, I'll give you an idea of what you can do with these. So let me take it away. Make sure that your hands are clean when you do that. I'm going to use this. And there you go. I think it's really nice. I like the blend. I could come back later and maybe put a little bit of green here and there. That's totally fine. And so here you saw that I was blending directly in my white paint, but you can also do a little bit more. So let me take the whole thing away. Now I'm going to take my rag and I'm going to show you that what flower am I going to use. I think I'm going to use the same flower as before. So I'm going to put it down. My pinkish red here. So again, you can do wet and wet, you can do wet on dry. And you don't need to put something really thick. Thin layers are much better. All right, then I'm going to take my yellow. I'm going to take this one off and just come inside here. Oops. I've got something sticking out there. Yep. And come in the middle and give it a bit more interest. Let me put that back here. And also I'm going to do this with a little bit of green, and I'm going to use the back of my paintbrush. All right, and put that in the middle as well. You see, you don't need much to make something really, really nice. And I could make a tail if I wanted to, but it's really simple. You see, I think I put some, oh no, that was a dry one. So very simple. I wanted to show you this one again. You can see better that you see how it starts to, and not as much, but if I would to put water down, since it's still not dry, I can see it's shiny. It's gonna spread, it's gonna be yicky. So no water. So I'm gonna finish up my my piece here that I just did in front of you, and next time when it's completely dry for the next video, I'll show you an idea that how to use this kind of handkerchief, old things, old t-shirt. You don't know what to do with them, you don't want to throw them away. Well, there are different ways to use them. I'm going to show you one of the ways. If you want to share ideas with me, please leave them in the comments below. And meanwhile, please give me some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button, and also share on social medias. Thank you so much. Take care and see you very soon. Bye-bye.